Hi,
Good morning.
this is Joji and this is my mother, and today it's today's Tuesday, September 18. I have asked my mom if she can be my guest today because I wanted to have her as a guest here in the journal, but also because we are working on the renovations at home, so my house at the moment is very noisy. There are workers everywhere and all of my yarn has been packed, and I really don't have any place with good light to record. So I thought it was a good opportunity to come visit my mom, who, by the way, she lives only a couple of blocks away. And I could use her living room to record, and I could have you all meet her and tell you some things about her and her knitting. So here we are.
And I am very happy to have you here with me.
Yes.
At home again.
So it's been over 2 weeks since I last recorded a journal, so I have been making lots of things. I have a lot of things to show you, but I don't want to overwhelm you because we're going to show you some of Mom's works in progress and projects too. So some of the things you might have seen on Instagram, especially regarding my sewing, I'm not going to be talking about those. So that we don't make it too long. So first, shall we talk about the featured pattern of the week? El patrón de la semana. So this week we have a new pattern to talk about. It's a pattern that came out last weekend, and a pattern that I showed you. It's been on a hanger, so it's kind of wrinkled, but I've shown you this cardigan many times when I was working on it. It's my Elton cardigan, and
es justo para la primavera.
Mom says that it's just perfect because spring is coming here to Buenos Aires, so I agree. I have been wearing this a lot, and if you remember when I first showed you my work in progress, I told you that this cardigan was inspired because I was learning how to sew and I was making myself a lot of dresses, and I was finally able to make the style of clothes that I like to wear. I like to wear looser, ample clothes that fit comfortable. And a lot of my previous designs, I still wear them very happily, and they go with some of the clothes that I wear, but I wanted something that was designed especially for all of these new dresses that I was making, something that was delicate and chic and that looked comfortable but also dressier at the same time. So I came up with this new design called Elton, and the name was inspired by the colorway. So the colorway name is Yellow Brick Road. Yellow Brick Road is a song by the songwriter and singer Elton John. So I gave my design the name of the artist. Mom and I, we both like Elton John very much. So this is it. I appreciate everyone's comments on the photos the weekend that came out. You were also very kind, and yeah, it's a design that I'm very proud of. It's not something too complicated or too different than other things that I have designed. I have to say it's a boxy construction with a drop shoulder, and it's a very easy pattern, but I just think it's really cute. So if you haven't seen this design before, let me tell you a bit about how it's constructed. You start here on the shoulder with a custom, and then you work towards the back. There are some short rows here at the shoulder, so that those short rows make the cardigan fit a bit better and make the cardigan drape over your shoulders nicely. And so you start with the main yarn. For this design I used a fingering weight yarn. It's the solid color you see here, and a lace weight yarn. It's the see-through colorway you see here. You can do that, you can play with texture, or you can just use fingering weight yarn. And we're going to show you what Mom's going to do with hers. You can use another color of fingering weight yarn. A lot of people wrote to me saying, I'm allergic to mohair, I cannot make that design, do you have any other recommendations? You can use one color, you can use the same yarn in 2 different colors, you can use cotton, linen, anything that gives you the gauge. You can use that, because actually the gauge, the working gauge for both yarns is the same. It's just because you're keeping that gauge, the lace weight yarn looks see-through. Yes, so once you finish the short rows, you start striping both of your yarns, and when you get here to the armhole, you stop, you work then the 2 fronts to match this distance, and then you join everything and work all the pieces back and forth, all the sweater in one piece. To finish, you pick up the stitches for the sleeves, and the sleeves are very quick because see where they start? They start mid-arm, almost at the elbow, and they're not full-length sleeves, so you actually can make the sleeves with very little yarn. And of course you can extend them and make them long sleeves.
I make it longer.
You will make them longer. One of my favorite details about this cardigan is the finishing details. So I used a tubular bind off for all of the bands. So there's a tubular bind off here in the cuffs, also in the button band, in the neckband, and here at the bottom. And I think it gives the design a very professional look. Do you agree?
Is it difficult to make?
It's a couple more steps. I think that if you think that you're about to finish and you just need to bind off, and then you see all the steps that are involved in the tubular bind off, you might be a bit disappointed. But if you are prepared for a bit of extra time, I think it's worth it. So basically, the tubular bind off, simply explained, is when you get to the last row of your ribbing, you have to slip the stitches onto 2 different needles. So all your knit stitches will come to the front needle, or your original needle, and all your purl stitches will go to a separate needle. So you will have half of your stitches on one needle and half of your stitches on a spare needle, and then you have to do grafting. Same as you finish the toe of a sock. You have to join the stitches from the front needle together with the back needle, and you sort of join them, and then that's what gives the knitting the look, sort of like the front row continues with the back row.
Con agujas de coser.
You have to use a darning needle, exactly. Same as you do with the toe of a sock. You have to do it all around the stitches in your cuff, and then all along the stitches in your button band and neckband and bottom band. It takes a while because, for example, for the bottom of the sweater, I don't remember exactly how many, but there probably are over 200 stitches. So you have to graft all the 100 stitches from the front needle together with the 100 stitches from the back needle. So it's an involved process.
It looks very nice.
I think it looks very nice. The good news is that the stitch count is the same. So if you don't feel like doing the tubular bind off, you just do a bind off in pattern and it works. You don't need to change anything in the pattern. You can just do a regular bind off. But I recommend, I always think it's a good opportunity to learn a new technique. So whenever I find a pattern that suggests that you do something that you've never done, you might as well try to do it, and if you can't, if it's too difficult, then you can go back to your...
Start again and...
Yes, or go to the techniques that you're comfortable with. So, Mom, you decided you're going to make one for yourself?
I have this one we brought in
from Paris.
Yeah.
Yes. So Mom is going to use also La Bien Aimee yarn. It's the same yarn that I used for my original sample, but she doesn't have mohair, so she's going to be using only fingering weight yarn. So her main color is going to be the blush pink or dusty pink. She has 2 of these. This is Merino Singles in the colorway Happy Accident. I wonder if they were dyeing something else and they had an accident when dyeing this.
No, I don't remember.
I wonder if that's why they named it like that. And then she has this green skein for contrast. And this doesn't have a colorway name.
Happy Accident. I didn't remember it.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have a colorway name, so... No, cannot find it.
No.
So Mom is going to be...
So it is green.
It is green. Very nice green. Mom is going to be making the same size as I made because she doesn't have a lot of yarn. So she's going to be making the same size as I did because it's a boxy fit, so it should fit her all right. And if you have yarn, you're going to make long sleeves, but I'm not sure that you will have enough yarn.
We'll see.
You'll see. Okay, so that was the feature pattern of the week and Mom's future project. Do you have a finished object? Shall I talk about my finished object first?
I have this.
Let's talk about this.
This is for my sister.
It's your
for hockey.
For my mother-in-law.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a friend for me.
For Charlie's mom.
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo. So let us show it from the right side, maybe. So Mom made a shawl for Charlie's mom. Elsa's birthday is this week, and she decided to make a Bark Lines Shawl.
She loves a blue color.
She has emerald blue eyes, so she looks really good in all the shades of blue and teal and aqua green, and she wears a lot of blue. So Mom had the main color in her stash. This yarn was from Abuelita. Abuelita is a company in Uruguay, and they make a lot of beautiful, very soft merino products. And many years ago, Mom visited their factory and she brought home 2 skeins of the blue, 2 skeins. And she wanted to make the Bark Lines Shawl. And I'm going to add a link to the design that she used for this in the show notes below. So for the original design, I used yarn that had a lot of yardage. I used 2 skeins of that yarn, but the skeins were big skeins and Mom's skeins were smaller. So she asked me, do you think that I should add more yarn? And I said, yes, I think it won't be enough. So Mom's stash is basically my stash. She comes home and she says, I want to make this, give me yarn for that, and she can pick anything she wants from my stash. So she was looking for a contrast skein. She wanted to make the twisted rib bands in a different color, and she picked this beautiful pale blue skein with some speckles, which I love. This skein is came from Australia. It was a gift from my friend Hannah from Circus Tonic Handmade. and I don't remember the colorway name, but I'm going to also look for that and place it in the show notes. And yeah, so now my mother-in-law is getting a shawl with yarn from Uruguay and Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, this is the finished shawl with the both colorways that Mom
It's very nice
used.
pattern.
Thank you, Mom. Yes, can we see it on you? My mom is very elegant.
I know how to combine colors.
Yes. Yes, so that's your finished object for today. I also have only one finished object. Although I have been knitting quite a lot, but I have been sewing a lot too, so I haven't finished many things to show for knitting. So I finished the hat that I started last time I recorded. If you go check out my previous journal, it was recorded live, and I was casting on stitches to make this hat for our fall knit along, which is still going on until November 13th. So there's still plenty of time to make lots of things. You can join the knit along with Elton, by the way. If you missed the deadline to sign up for the knit along, we have opened a special sign up for Elton. We do that every time I come up with a new pattern. During the knit along, we reopen the sign-ups for that specific pattern. So if you still want to join us, Mom, you could join our fall knit along.
I was thinking about it.
Yes, and there are lots of knitters who speak Spanish also in our knit along. So you can join our knit along. You can put your name there in the special form, and and you're eligible to win some prizes if you finish your project before November 30, which I'm sure
have 2 months.
I'm sure you will. You're a very quick knitter. So this is my new hat that I just finished.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I'm very happy with it. I have been thinking of making myself a new hat for some time. Strangely, I don't need a lot of accessories. I need a lot of shawls, but I don't make many hats. And actually, Canada is going to be a lot colder than I thought. And I should have made...
this is very warm.
Yes, but I should have made mittens for the whole family, and I didn't, and I don't think I have time to make that now. So we're going to have to wear our ski gloves, which is very sad for for a family of a knitter to wear ski gloves. But we have beanies for everyone to go to Canada, but this is going to be my hat this time, and I'm very happy. So
the kids are enthusiastic about the trip.
Yes, the kids are so happy that we're going. We're going on holidays to Canada after Knit City for 2 weeks, and yes, we are all very, 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 very excited. The pattern that I used is also my pattern. Is called Cozy Head, Happy Head, and I think this is my favorite hat pattern. But when I made the sample for the pattern, it was modeled by my sister-in-law, Romy, and she liked it so much that I had to gift it to her to say thank you for being my model. So I always thought I should make myself one because I really, really love it. And I also wanted to use this special skein of yarn. The yarn that I used, it's got this rustic look, and it's got these little knobs of fiber also, which I love. These little things are not, it's not that the yarn is spilling, it's one of the features of the yarn, and I just adore that. This is Cormo fiber. Cormo is a breed of sheep, a different, it's not a different species, it's like a race.
Es una clase distinta.
Una raza.
Una raza.
And there was a special vendor when I went to Rhinebeck Festival. and people were very excited with this yarn. They said that it was something very special that, I don't know, I think this vendor always sells this yarn, but it's very popular at Rhinebeck for some reason. A lot of people bring this as a souvenir from the festival. And I brought one skein, and it was sitting in my stash for a couple of years, and I decided to use it for my hats, and now it will always remind me of Rhinebeck.
Do you know what I am thinking about?
What are you thinking about?
My brother.
You want to make one for your brother? We are very selfless makers, my mother and I. We just love to make for whoever wants it. We just make stuff.
When I see something nice, yes. I think,
oh, I could make that for this or that person. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. So, again, cozy head, happy head. I made the size large because my yarn was a bit smaller than what the pattern called for. And the yarn is Foxill Farms Cormo DK, 100% Cormo, I think. Yeah, very nice yarn. I can recommend. If you like rustic looking yarn, it feels very soft though. Do you like the feel? How do you feel?
Very soft.
Very soft. Mom doesn't really like rustic yarns.
I don't like.
How do you feel about Brooklyn tweed though? Do you like Brooklyn tweed?
No.
You don't like to knit with it? It hurts her hand.
I don't like to knit it, and I don't like to use
to wear it.
To wear.
She's very sensitive. I love it. I think it's fabulous yarn. But I know my mom likes drapey merino. Yeah. So yeah, those are our finished projects for this week.
I have one
work in progress.
No, yeah, this one.
You have a finished sock?
Only one.
Ah, she has a half object. Can you show the journal viewers the project bag that you
yes,
claimed?
Of course.
So, if you remember, last time when I recorded, I showed you the project bag that I had made, and I told you that I wasn't happy with the outcome, but Mom loved it, and she kept looking at it, and she kept saying like, "Oh, this is very nice. This is very nice." So I asked her, "Do you want it?" She said, "Yes, I want it."
When I like something for me, I say, "Oh, this is very nice."
So, can I show your half
Esto
object?
está feo, esto no lo muestres.
Okay. But I like it though.
Sí, bueno.
So, she made one sock. She said she doesn't like the ribbing here, but I think it's very nice. These were made from the toe to the cuff. Are you planning to change this?
Yeah.
Okay, so that it's not so ruffled?
Exactly.
Okay. What bind off did you use that it ended up
La que tejes dos veces
the elastic bind off.
Elastic.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was necessary, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah, so maybe you can do a regular bind off, but with a bigger needle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what stitch pattern did you use? What stitch pattern did you use? Knit 2 per 2?
Yeah.
Knit 2 per 2. And she started here in the... she started here in the toe.
Descubrí el error, ¿eh?
So Mom was experimenting. She wanted to learn Judy's magic cast on, and it turns out that apparently she did something wrong because she's got this.
Hay que tejer la primera vuelta para el otro lado.
She's got this pearl line of stitches, and she says she now understands what went wrong, but she will call this a design feature. And then she also learned a new heel with short rows, and she doesn't like the bind off. Who are these for?
For me.
And
for the moment.
We're not sure what the yarn is, as everything.
It is Malabrigo.
It is Malabrigo.
Yes.
For those who don't know, we are in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. Argentina is in South America, in the bottom of South America, and we are right next to our beautiful neighbor country Uruguay, where Malabrigo yarns are from. And Mom and I, every couple of years or every few years, we visit Uruguay, and we are lucky enough that we are welcome to visit Malabrigo's dyeing factory, which is just as dreamy as it sounds. It's like a factory of dreams. And we get to buy some of their seconds. We buy really cheap yarn from them, but it's amazing. It's the same quality that it's all around the world, but for some reason these yarns didn't go through the quality check, and we bring them home with us. But the problem is that they don't have tags, so we're never 100% sure of what we are bringing home. But I think this is a skein of Malabrigo sock in their Solis colorway. I'm pretty sure that's what she's knitting with. Malabrigo sock is a...
Tengo un soporte de lana.
She wants to show off her yarn bowl that I made her during my experimenting with pottery. It's one of the few pottery items made by me that exist. I was saying, Malabrigo sock is a 100% superwash wool. It doesn't contain any nylon. But we still use yarn that doesn't have any nylon for socks, and we're perfectly fine with that. I think I mentioned that I have had socks with nylon fall apart in 2 or 3 wears, and I've had 100% alpaca socks that lasted for many years. I've had 100% wool socks that look great without any nylon. We've made socks with fingering weight, with sport weight, DK, worsted weight. We made socks with any kind of yarn, and basically I think the secret is that you shouldn't put them in the washer. And I don't think it's a problem if you have, like most knitters do, I at least have 10 pairs of handmade socks, at least, if not more. So that means that I can, I don't know, wash my woolen socks once a week or every couple of weeks. I just put them in a special bucket, and then I wash them all together by hand, and that makes my socks last a lot more, whether they have nylon or not. I don't think that's a problem, at least for my feet or for mom's feet. Mom's feet is the same. So I'm going to talk about my work in progress. Oh, look, we have 2. Can you show them your bag? We have Mrs. Brown's bags, project bags today.
This is the mom.
So my work in progress is going pretty well. It's my faded pullover that I've been working on for the past few weeks. And I'm knitting this inside out so that I'm using a pattern repeat that has 5 purl stitches and 1 knit stitch, but I decided to knit it inside out so that I need 5 knit stitches and 1 purl stitch, because I find it easier to knit than, of course, to purl. So this is my sweater design that I'm working on. It will be a pattern as soon as I'm ready. I don't have a release date for this yet. I used 4 different colors of Tosh Merino Light, Hoorn, I'm not going to remember this again, Hoorn, Gracenotes, Dead Calm, and Black Sea, I think. And I finished...
Precioso te grabé, precioso.
Yes, thank you. So I finished the first sleeve this week, and I'm working now on the second sleeve. I was hoping that I would finish this before leaving to Canada. I'm leaving in exactly 1 week from this moment that we are recording. Sorry. and but I also want to do a lot of other things. I want to plan the projects that I'm going to be knitting when I'm traveling, because I'll be gone for 20 days. That's a lot of knitting time. And so planning a project means that I have to probably cast on and work out if I'm going to use a chart, get that chart ready so that I don't have to work all of those details when I'm on the road. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of works in progress though. This is one of my only 2 works in progress. So I have this pullover and I have a very old project. Very old cardigan, the Night Out cardigan. It's a black cardigan with a lace front that I showed you early in one of the first journals, I think. I think I only showed it once or twice, journals number 1 or 2 maybe, so that's back in February, March. And for some reason I'm having problems making progress with that design. So this is my only knitting that I have at the moment. So that means that every time that I'm watching TV or just hanging out with Charlie, I'm working on this. But I still don't think that will be enough time for me to finish the sleeve before leaving. We'll see. We'll see. It will be awesome. I can still write the pattern and start testing it just with one sleeve finished. Because basically the other one is just a repeat of the same. But we'll see. So this is my only work in progress today. But you are helping me with another work in progress.
We have this one.
Yes. So first, a word about my mom's knitting for anyone who has never heard of my mom. I talk about my mom a lot on my Instagram account. And in my journals, many times I've mentioned you and I've told people my mom is helping me with this or that. So mom's knitting style, she really enjoys knitting easy and simple projects. So she isn't bothered with sleeves, for example, right? You're happy to make sleeves. So my mom is every knitter's dream. I finish a sweater.
We are the perfect couple.
I finished the sweater and mom finishes the sleeves if they don't have a lot going on. And whenever I'm like, oh, this is taking so long and it's all of the same, mom says, I can do that for you. Also, mom is a really fantastic ribbing knitter. And again, I mentioned a few times in the journal how my ribbing is always uneven and it looks kind of untidy. My mom is the neatest ribbing knitter in the world. I think she makes perfect ribbing. So if I want to add like a ribbing front band or something that has to look very neat.
And the sleeves.
Mom helps me with that too. In this case, mom was a bit sad because she says, you're not giving me anything to knit. I don't know what to make. She's been knitting for whoever says, I want something knitted. I'll make it for you, she says. So I decided I would give her this project to help me with because it's so easy. So I'm going to put it on like this because that's the way you wear it. It's looking awesome. This is a boxy pullover design that I'm working on. It's a really simple concept. So we have also drop shoulders, just a couple of short rows, not very many. Garter stitch all over the place, also in the back. Can you see it?
Yeah. Párate un poquito, ¿ver? Y acá está la forma.
And there's some shaping here. We need to pick up stitches around this area later. So once you finish the back, you pick up stitches here, you work the front. We have to make the shaping here too. And once, there's no joining here, as you can see. Once these pieces are finished, we are going to pick up stitches all around these two pieces, and we're going to work a thick band of ribbing that's going to give the sweater a curved shape. And then we're going to pick up stitches from here and work garter stitch sleeves. Mm-hmm. Yes, once we finish the bands that connect these two pieces. What do you think?
Fine.
You like it?
Yeah.
And then we're going to make a little ribbed band here for the neckline. So it's going to be very cozy, very warm.
¿Qué punto le haces acá?
2x2
okay.
ribbing.
Okay.
2x2 ribbing. So we're using a beautiful yarn.
Very, very soft.
Yes, Mom approves. This is very, very beautiful yarn. This is called LUFT, and it's by Woolfolk. There you go. Woolfolk LUFT.
It's al revés.
No, it reverses the image. Don't worry. We see it as a mirror, but people see it the right way. So this yarn is what's the content? 55% ultimate merino, which is that beautiful fiber that comes from Argentina in Patagonia. Beautiful, very, very fine merino yarn, and 45% organic cotton. So the white areas that you see in the yarn that look like a nicord, the white is the cotton, and the black is the merino fibers that are like interlocked in the cotton. So the result. It's a Obis 21 is a cooperative. I think it's like an organization here in Argentina that promotes development for farms that have sheep with very special properties, with wool with very special properties. So the result is this sort of velvety look, como un terciopelo.
Yeah, it's very, very soft.
Very, very soft. So at first I thought I would do something very loose and drapey, but then I decided, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that in a second. I'm going to but then I decided to what if we do this and you move? Can you move to your?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. But then I decided I wanted to make something chunkier, cozier. So we are using 5mm needles, and it's giving us a very dense fabric, which I think it's great because I wanted something that, like a warm layer that you can put on over other, maybe even another lighter sweater that could act like a poncho or a jacket. Mm-hmm. So that's why I decided to keep the fabric dense and tight. Yes, so Mom's probably going to be working on that while I'm gone, so that she doesn't miss me so much. And yeah, do we have anything else? Yeah, look, I just cast on. Where is it? I literally just cast on this shawl. Oh no, I dropped my stitches. Oh. I had just cast on this little garter tab to show you this as a work in progress. So if you remember last journal, I showed you these 3 yarns that I'm going to be using to knit a shawl with. This is Tosh Merino DK. in the Cactus colorway, Joshua Tree and Pelican. And I'm going to be making a shawl that I'm going to carry on the plane with me. So when I'm going to Canada next Tuesday, and I'm going on my own. I'm flying on my own, and I'm teaching several workshops at Knit City, and then my family is coming on Saturday. So that means that I'm going to be 18 hours flying to Vancouver City, and I'm going to be on my own. So I will have lots of knitting time. I also read a lot on the plane, and I watch movies, and I don't knit all the time because then I get tired. But I always bring a project big enough just in case I want to knit for 18 hours straight. And I'm going to be taking this
Do you have
job.
a stop in the flight?
Yes, I fly from Buenos Aires to Toronto in a direct flight. And then I think that's about 12 hours, 11, 12 hours. And then I make a short stop in Toronto. I go through passport control and immigration. And then I take a flight from Toronto to Vancouver, which is about 4.5 hours.
4 hours.
Canada is a big country.
It's very, very... It's wide.
It's wide. It's a wide country.
Yeah.
I suppose if you fly from Jujuy in the northeast province to Ushuaia, you would also have to fly about 4 hours, 4 hours and a half maybe.
Yeah. Buenos Aires to Tucumán, I think it was more
2 hours.
2 hours.
Yes. So this is technically a work in progress because I have already started it. It's a work in progress now because I started it. Yeah. It's not a plan anymore. I have cast on.
You can say it is a progress.
It's going to be a very simple shawl. I'm not going to design anything complicated these days because it would just be silly to design something that I cannot knit during my trip. So it's going to be color blocked, I think, and it's going to be very simple. I think I'm going to do just garter section lace in one color, and then garter section lace in another color, and garter section lace in the last color, and maybe some tassels.
A simple lace.
Simple lace, yes. And I love the fact that it's DK because I love heavier weight shawls too. I think they look beautiful and substantial. So that's my plan for my travel knitting, one of my plans. Yes, yeah, so that's my last work in progress. And yeah. So, do we have anything else knitting related to show?
No, I don't have anything more. I have a lot of yarn to think about them.
So I'm going to talk about sewing a little bit. Do you want to...
Yo tengo el que le hice a Leti, que me lo hice para mí, no te lo mostré.
Do you want to go get that or next time?
Cuando vos quieras.
You can go get that, yes, if you want. Well, Mom wants to show you guys a project, and I'm going to talk about sewing in the meantime while she comes back. So I'm wearing something that I made. I don't think I ever showed this trapeze dress. It's one of the first things that I ever sewed. It's a pattern by Merchant and Mills, and I used a nice denim that I found at the local market. It's nothing fancy, but this is probably the thing that I wear the most. I wear this almost every day, and I always think I should make another one, but then I think, why? If I already have one, why should I make another one? But I love the neckline in this design, and the first time I made this, I had problems setting the sleeves on this, and they didn't look very neat. But after gaining more confidence and more experience, I took them out and I set them in again, and I think they now look, I don't know why it's stained everywhere. Oh, So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today, is something that I sewed. And my mom wanted to show you this beautiful cardigan coat she made for my sister.
Primero lo hice para vos, después lo hice para Leti y ahora para mí.
Oh, this is for you.
Yeah.
So my mom needed most of my original design, my original sample for this. This is the ragged coat, and you can find this design in Interpretations 5 book. And then she liked it so much that she wanted to make one for my sister, and she made it again. But then apparently she wasn't tired yet of the design, and I had given her this yarn. This is by Manos del Uruguay. This yarn is called Gloria, and the colorway is called Muro. And she made another one for herself. So now I'm a bit jealous because I don't have this sample for me, because every design for Interpretations actually goes to a trunk show. So now my sister and my mom have a sample of this and I don't have one for myself. Can you stand up for a second? So what I love about this design are the pockets. I think they are really, really great. It has a V-neck, but it doesn't have any closure, so it looks very casual, and you can also wear it as a coat. Can I turn you around? Like that, yes. And I also love the horseshoe cables running down the back and running down the fronts. It's so nice. And this is very soft, too. Yes. Thank you. Okay. She's a very good model, and she's a very good ambassador of everything I make. So she's a very proud mother. So back to sewing. That's what I was wearing, and I made a lot of things this week, but I'm only going to show you 3 that I think are different from other things that I have made before. So the first thing I want to share with you is my first coat. And I don't know if I can show it properly here in the journal, but this is probably the most amazing thing I have ever made. And I'm super, super proud of it, even though it's already too warm to wear it. When I learned to sew, when I decided I would teach myself to sew, I was hopeful that eventually I could make some garments like simple tops and simple dresses like what I'm wearing today. I never thought I could actually make a jacket or a coat. I know I joked about it. I said, you know, one day I'll be making myself my own coats. I never thought this was actually something people could do. And it's not because I'm talented, it's not because I have skills, it's just because I think today we have the resources with the patterns that we can buy, and with the patterns and the instructions that pattern designers write for us, we can actually make something using tailor's techniques, and all we have to do is follow the instructions. I often think about how people became sewists or tailors or makers, right? So I remember when my mother used to sew, or when my mother learned how to knit. Patterns would give you templates to cut and very basic instructions, things like sew the sides and finish the seams and join and set in the sleeves and stuff like that. In knitting, it would happen same way, right? So work 2 inches of ribbing and then working pattern and reverse the instructions for the other side. That's what the magazines that we used to read or we used to work from look like. Nowadays, I feel like I don't have to have all that previous knowledge in order to read a pattern from a magazine and be able to, I don't know, make a lace shawl or make a very complex cable cardigan, or even sew a coat, because the pattern instructions include all this information, include all these techniques. They would say things like understitch the collar, and then they give you a tutorial reference, or you can Google what understitch means, and Google will show you what that means. They show you with photographs how to flip things over and how to... Anyway, I'm amazed that I can finish a garment without actually having to know which are the steps that I have to follow to sew myself a coat. I haven't learned that. I just followed the steps written in the pattern, and I came up with a finished coat. So I'm going to go behind our couch. I don't know if I can get there. I can't get there easily. We moved the couch to have a bit more light, but I'm going to try to show you the best that I can my new coat. I'm so happy with this. This pattern is the Oslo coat. It's by Australian company Tessuti Fabric, and it's a really, really, really nice pattern. I have only good things to say about it. I loved it, I enjoyed it, and I have a beautiful coat as a result. So features are a side pocket. These were quite easy to make because they include all the instructions. It has a folded over collar. My fabric is quite thick, so the collar has 2 layers of fabric, and I think it has 2 layers of interfacing too. That's how the pattern was written. And if I was going to make it over, probably I would have interfaced only one of the layers, because that's the only part that kind of bothers me. It's kind of too stiff. I wonder if, as I wear this, I'm looking at my mom, looking at her impressions on this. I wonder if, as I wear this coat a bit more, maybe it becomes a bit more flexible, so that could happen. I'm not wearing anything under the coat, so that's why it looks quite loose, but I wanted to make it roomy enough that I can wear actually a sweater underneath. The sizing in this pattern comes from, I think you have sizes 6, 8 and 10 in one pattern, and then 12, 14, 16 in a different pattern. And I was not so sure about the sizes because I think I matched the 10 size perfectly for the top, but then my hips were a bit big for that size. But I read a lot of reviews and people said that there was a lot of ease included in this design, so I decided to go for size 10. My main concern was that I had to buy a different pattern. If I needed the 10, I had to buy the bundle with the small sizes, and if I needed the 12, I had to buy the bundle with the larger sizes. I ended up buying the small bundle, and I think I picked the right size. What I did is I added 1 inch, 2 inches total to the circumference at the bottom hem. So I graded, I traced diagonal lines. It's just one size jump between the shoulders and the bottom. I think it worked out really well. This is not wool, it's probably a wool blend, or it might be all synthetic material, I'm not sure, but it's a beautiful fabric. It's so soft, and it feels also velvety. It has a bit of it has a nap, so I had to be careful to cut all the pieces in the same direction so that they look the same. It looks very fine. It's not something that looks cheap at all. It's very, very nice fabric. You can see my lining picking here. I picked a polka dot rayon satin for the lining to make it a bit more playful. I'm very happy with the lining choice, but I'm kind of put off by the fact that you can actually see the lining in my cuffs. So I wanted my lining to be something sort of like a surprise thing that you only see when I take it off. And I kind of don't like that whenever you see inside my sleeves you can actually see the polka dots. I should have thought that through. Next time I make a coat, I'm going to make matching lining, because I'm not so extravagant when I dress. I like plain colors. I like very plain clothes. So I think the polka dots, even though I love them here, they are too much. They are too much here. And I think that if I tuck them somehow, it would restrain my arm movement. I think this is something I'm going to do some research to see if I can do something about the lining showing, but I don't think I can do anything about that. All in all, I think it's a beautiful coat. I would buy this coat for sure. I have had many compliments about it. The only time I could wear it, because as I said, it's so warm. And yeah, I am going to make another one. This was actually a practice. I have purchased 100% wool fabric with a herringbone pattern in gray and black with a black lining that won't show here. And that's the yarn, that's the fabric that I wanted to use for this design, but I was a bit scared of cutting that fabric because it was quite more expensive than this. And now that I know that I love the pattern, that it fits the way I want, I can be certain that I can make that coat. Yeah, so again, and the pattern comes with instructions for you to make a buttonhole there, and to use another, I don't know which one goes on top.
No.
I think it's this. Yes. So it has a button here with a buttonhole like that, and then you should make another buttonhole there. Or I think it's not so close. I think that's the way it's supposed to fit. But I'm very scared of cutting into my fabric and making a buttonhole because my machine is a home sewing machine. I don't think my machine can handle all these layers. So I think I'll just ruin the fabric trying to make a buttonhole, and I'm very scared of that. So I can make a handmade buttonhole by hand. I have received a couple of suggestions from friends, or I can also, I don't think I have enough fabric, but I could try to buy another piece of this fabric to make a belt.
Okay.
What do you think? A belt could work.
Yeah.
So we could belt it like that, because my pockets are in the right place for a belt, and I think it could look very much like.
Because if you make
Inspector
it
Gadget
and it is not perfect.
Yeah, if I ruin it with a buttonhole, I'll feel very, very sad. So 4 thumbs up for Tessuti fabric. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, and I don't watch a lot of sewing podcasts, but I had the opportunity to listen to an interview that the Love to Sew podcast made to Colette, the designer of this coat, and she was talking about the way they draft their patterns. So if you buy a tessuti pattern, you will see that their patterns are traced by hand, and all of the references and all of the names of the templates look like they are traced, they are handwritten, and they actually are. Colette handwrites all of her pattern pieces, and then someone scans those, and so what you get when you print those patterns at home is an exact copy of what she did with paper and rulers and pens. So I think that's a really, really cute detail. I love that super handmade feel, like someone made these patterns and then she scanned them and in Australia, and I can buy those patterns in Argentina, send them to a printer, and I get something that was handwritten by someone, and then I get to make my garment out of that. I think it's really, really special. So I'm eager to try some more of their patterns. They are just magnificent. All right. Thanks. Shall I talk about that? Mom is my assistant. So another thing that I made that's quite a big deal is I made a pair of trousers. These are muslin for a better pair, and I am very satisfied with my make. So I purchased the Alexandria trousers pattern from a Finnish company called Named. I was going to say named. And it's like Named, because I want to make pull-on trousers. So this is a difficult thing for me because I am a pear shape, I have wide hips and smaller waist. So once I pull them up, the trousers, they look okay, but if I want a pair of trousers that actually fits me properly around the waist, they have to be smaller, and it's very hard for me to actually pull them up through my hips, right? But that's the style that I'm looking for. I know that I know that pants are a lot better for me if they have a fly and a button or a zipper, but I just want a pair of fully elasticated pull-on trousers that look great. And the problem is that I have a pair of store-bought ones. Remember the black trousers that we bought in England?
Yeah.
They are fully elasticated and they are pull-on trousers. They are a bit hard for me to pull them up, but once they are up, they look great. And I've been trying to replicate those trousers, buying different patterns, and I even tried tracing them, like copying the trousers, but I haven't been successful. So I'm gonna keep trying. But what I mean to say is that I know that people say for pear shapes you should make the lander pants or other designs. I don't want to make a different style of trousers right now. I want to make an elasticated waist trouser. So my first attempt was a pair of trousers. I used the 101 Merchant and Mills pattern, and they were too high-waisted. Remember the jeans that I gave you?
Yeah.
They were too high-waisted. I had used this same fabric, and they fit me completely wrong. But Mom saw them, and I said, Mom, do you want them? Do you want to try them on? and everything fits my mother great.
Yo soy muy dúctil, me parece.
Yes, my mom says she's very versatile. Yes, so I bought this other pattern, very hopeful, and yes, I think this worked out a lot better. You can see some photos of me wearing them on my sewing Instagram account. Sizing. I was in doubt for the sizing, so according to my waist measurements, I was between the 42 and the 44. But I don't like my trousers to be too loose because they make me look a bit bigger around the hips. So I want them to be not tight, but just right. So I went for the 42. And then I knew that they would be a bit big for me at the waist. So I sewed them up as written. And then, if you can see here, I took some of the seam allowances in. Uh-huh. So this is the original. Oh, I broke my trousers.
Oh my God.
in a very compromising spot. Oh my goodness. No. I need to go through these seams again. This is the best blooper ever. So this is the right seam allowance. This is so funny. So 1 centimeter should be the correct. This is what shouldn't happen to your trousers. And then this is what ended what my waist looks like. So I took them in 4 centimeters at the back and another 3 centimeters at the front.
¿Cómo se te descosió?
I don't know what happened. Apparently I was too rough on them. It's okay. I just need to sew them again here.
Sí. No es grave.
I should reinforce my crotch seams very tightly from now on. Yes. So also I took in the waistband. It has a separate waistband. I took in the waistband 7 centimeters. According to following what I had done with these seams, and I didn't change anything else. I kept the length as written, which is like a cropped length with a tapered leg, and I really love them. But even though I added a lot of elastic to them, I still didn't feel that they were staying up, and I had a lot of fabric here in the front. So this is the front of the trousers. They have these pleats, and there was a lot of fabric here in this area. So I added these belt loops and fabric belt, and that helps keep the trousers up, and also when I tie the belt it sort of covers the crotch area, so they actually look it conceals what's going on with those pleats. I love this pattern. I could make it again. I love the way named right their patterns. But I think I'm going to look for another pattern for pull-on trousers that doesn't have the front pleats. So perhaps something that has a bit more room in the back and it has a flat front. I'm still experimenting. This fabric that I use is an eggplant colored twill.
Como poplin.
Gabardina.
Gabardina.
Twill that I had left over from another project, so it's not a waste because the fabric was just a leftover, and these are super comfortable. I've been wearing these as you saw. I even broke them. They are great for working around the house. They are extremely comfortable, and yes, 2 thumbs up for this pattern too. And the other thing that I made during these weeks is this beautiful top. It's a bit wrinkled because I brought it in my duffel bag to Mom's house.
It looks simple, but it is not simple.
Exactly. It looks deceptively simple, but it isn't. So let me show you this top a bit better.
Y la parte de atrás con el recorte.
Yes, and the back has
Con el
also...
recorte de acá abajo.
Yeah, this was a lot of work. So this pattern is also by an Australian company called In the Folds, and it's called the Collins top. And it has, I made the sleeveless version, but it comes with sleeves too. It's a very flared design, so you can see that there's a lot of fabric going on the sides. It has a lot of pieces to cut out, a lot of pieces. The front has a main panel, but then it has side panels here and here, and it has shoulder panels too, separate shoulder panels. There you can see them. And then the back has two main panels, and then also side panels, and then also shoulder panels. And then
complex.
You have the facing for the back and the facing for the front and the button loop. So it's a complex make. It was difficult. It took me a long time because the pattern suggested that if you were using a finer fabric, like I was, you could try to do French seams for all the seams, which I tried to do. So this took me a really, really ridiculous amount of time. And then the bottom of the top is finished with a bias binding. So I also had to do that. I made my own bias binding, and it took me another ridiculous amount of time because I'm a slow maker. But
el resultado es una pieza fina.
I'm very happy with the result. I have to say, I'm still at the stage where I don't want to invest a lot of money in fabric because I feel like I'm still learning about cutting, about what styles I like. Yeah, what my measurements are, what styles I like to wear. I'm still experimenting with trousers. I haven't found my perfect trouser pattern. I'm still experimenting with tops and coats and jackets. So I feel like once I like a pattern, once I've worn a pattern, something that I made out of a pattern several times, I can then invest in a fancier fabric and make something special like a party dress or a party top. But until I have practiced a pattern with a cheaper yarn, I don't feel that I'm...
Not to feel asustada?
Scared of cutting that, yeah. So the fabric that I used for this Collins top was also something super, super cheap.
But it looks very fine.
And I think that the pattern makes it look something really elegant. And I added a metallic button here in the bag so that it would also dress up my top. So I feel that now that the warm months are coming, if I wear this top with black skinny trousers and a pair of heels, I am ready to go out for dinner or something nice in the evening.
Yes, you should look elegant.
Yes, and I don't feel that my body shape looks so elegant with very, very simple lines. If I want to feel a bit dressed up, there has to be some structure in my clothes. So I'm very pleased with this make. I would love to make a black version of it, maybe also with some metallic details to make it look dressy. And yeah, so that's all the sewing I have for today. I don't think I can talk about any more makes. As I mentioned, next Tuesday I'm leaving to go to Canada, and I don't think I will be recording any journals before that time, and I cannot promise that I will be recording any journals while I'm there, but you have my word that I will try. I'm bringing my laptop with me, so if I can make the time to tell you about the event, I will do that. I will try to include some images, but if I can't, then don't forget to follow me on Instagram and follow my stories. I'm pretty sure that I will be uploading a lot of images and videos there of everything that I'm making, of the Knit City Festival first, and then of my holidays around beautiful Canada with my family. So thank you everyone for watching us this time. I hope you enjoyed my mother's visit. Thank you, Mom, for joining me here.
It was a pleasure here.
Yes, and see you hopefully very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.